Good morning. Jim Laird joining you live from Dirioma, Nicaragua. Hope you're doing well today. Let's get going over here on Instagram. Let's see if we can actually get it rolling today. For some reason, it didn't go yesterday. There we go. We got it going on Instagram. So I'm doing good today. It's a beautiful day here. It's a little bit cooler. We got Dom Davino there in the background hanging out, and he is large and in charge. The dogs. Dogs are being a little fun this morning. Hope you're well. So I got this gentleman reached out to me on Instagram and asked me, why do you never talk about peptides? And so I thought it'd be a fun little topic to discuss here. It's not that I have anything against Rommel. It's not that I have anything against peptides in general, or supplements or anything for that matter, but just through experience and coaching people for a very, very long time and spending the last 3 years in medical practice, I don't look at peptides. Maybe HRT could be foundational in certain people, but most people, when they reach for peptides or HRT or whatever it is that they're trying to do, or a supplement, they're usually trying to cover up for like a lifestyle problem, essentially. So I look at it as peptides as like an enhancement, not a foundational thing. Okay. And part of that is I've worked with a ton of people who are on HRT, who are on peptides, who are on every supplement under the book, and they still weren't getting good results because one, their exercise program just wasn't good for them as far as maybe intensity or exercise selection, and they weren't managing their stress well, and so they were just taking additional things to just try and make themselves feel better, quote unquote, and they just kept adding more and more stuff. And let's face it, peptides are freaking expensive, man. It can get really, really expensive, and they work for a certain period of time, and then you need to come off them. So if you want to use peptides or supplements or whatever else you're going to use, you want to make sure that you have a good foundation of lifestyle. Do you have to be perfect? No. I've seen peptides do some amazing things with people, particularly with autoimmune diseases or digestive issues, with the combination of working on sleep, working on stress management, and adding something like BPC 157, which I think is one of the better peptides for most people. It's great at healing you. It speeds up, healing. It heals everything. I've had people that were having issues with cravings of alcohol and things like that. It helped take the edge off, right? And so if you are going to take a peptide, or you are going to do some sort of hormone replacement or something along those lines, you want to also, while you're doing that, you want to build health and want to build habits, right? You don't want to continue living the same life that got you into the bad place that you're at, only to say, well, I have no energy and I'm not happy with my body composition, so I'm going to take something to help with that. And then you don't fix the underlying root issue, and most people, a big part of their root issue is their circadian rhythm is just busted. So if one of the reasons you can't stop eating is because you're sleep deprived and your circadian rhythm is destroyed, I don't know if there's what are the long-term ramifications of you suppressing your appetite with a GLP or something like that, when you're continuing to not change your sleep habits, get outside. Now, if you want to use a GLP and you want to microdose it to take the edge off, to help you with the cravings, that's completely up to you and your doctor. But if you're going to continue to live longer, and you just add things in to prop you up or to give you the result that you want, and you don't change your lifestyle, you might be able to get away with it for a while, but eventually it's going to bite you on the ass, from what I've seen from most people. And it's expensive. Those things are freaking really expensive and are not sustainable for most people, and that's a big part of it too. And a big part of the problem with the internet is people don't realize that a lot of these influencers that you see on Instagram. One, are photoshopping their photos. Two, they're on, all sorts of different things that most people just can't afford to be on. Like I know some people that, I mean, their bill for their supplements and their peptides is more um than most people's mortgages, like in a month. And most people just can't afford to pay that. Rommel, calm down, bud. So that's my older dog Rommel. He's been with me for a long time. He's playing with Dom Davino back there. Dom is the young one. Dom can now, if you follow me on Instagram, he was about this big when I got him. He was a little rat. He looked like a rat, and he just showed up here, and so I started taking care of him. And now I guess he's mine. And so he can now hop that fence behind me like in one shot. But the good thing about him is he's grown up here. He pretty much lives outside. I let him come inside to sleep, but I can go out of town, and all I have to, one of the groundskeepers here will give him food, a little bit of water, and he'll pretty much take care of himself. He brings me an iguana tail a couple times a week. Rommel can't, Rommel's getting old, but people are so afraid of pit bulls here that I'm afraid if he wandered off and somebody saw him, that they would probably get freaked out and probably do something to him. So can't do that with Rommel. But Rommel has been with me for a very long time. He's 20 years old. So as you can see, he's that right there. Hey, Rami, what are you doing? Rommel, come here. Rommel, come here. Come here, Rommel. Oh, he's laying down. So he's laying down there behind me on the mat. I can't see him, but that's my take on all of this. So if you're gonna, if you're not feeling well, say you're, you got low testosterone or your body composition, you're not happy with where you're at. I'm not, you need to do you, but you need to make an effort to manage stress, to fix your lifestyle, get the foundational things done and worked on before you start adding, these accessory things. I don't look at peptides. TRT, you could argue for somebody who's got really low testosterone, could be foundational, but even someone that is chronically low is going to need to change lifestyle, eat more protein, control insulin, get outside, do all the fundamental things. Because if you just pop a bunch of testosterone in there, here's a funny story. Not funny story, but testosterone is a very interesting thing, because too little, it'll give you anxiety. Too much, it'll give you anxiety. So there's been times when I've had people that were, hard charging CEO types. They're tired, so they get on thyroid, they get on testosterone, and then they feel better, but their sleep doesn't improve. They're having issues. And a lot of times, if you get up into the high ranges of testosterone, it gives you anxiety and you can't sleep and you can't relax. You're always in this over breathing, wired state. So a lot of times with guys, it's backing their testosterone off a little bit. A lot of times guys come to me and they're on too much stuff. They're on testosterone. They're on a whole bunch of different supplements. And then we back it off and we really work on, maybe we do a float tank session once a week, just simple 10 minutes, getting outside a couple times a day makes a big difference, and when you do the lifestyle stuff, things like TRT, things like peptides, they're going to work better when you do them. Okay. And hey, if you have to do something really crazy for 6 months to a year, say you're doing a startup or something, and you want to, take some supplements or some things to help prop yourself up, knock yourself out, just understand that you can't do that forever. It's not sustainable for most people. And then there's always going to be those outliers out there that can burn the candle at both ends in the middle and turn out okay. So that's my thoughts on peptides. I think they're just like, fancy training, like depth jumps and Sturcamax phases and super compensation and all these, contrast German volume training. These are all things that I would not do with people if they can't do, the basics, push-ups, pull-ups, if they can't do basic fundamental things, I'm not going to throw them into contrast training or German volume training or dog crap training or whatever else, right? So if you don't have the basics down, I would highly suggest not spending thousands of dollars on supplements and peptides because they can get real expensive real quick. And you'd be surprised at the results that you get if you just keep it simple. And then once you get through the beginner gains, like when you haven't trained in a while and you just clean your diet up a little bit, you're going to make amazing progress. You're going to change your body composition. Things are going to accelerate pretty fast, right? Save the fancy stuff for when you really need it, right? Unless, of course, like your testosterone is so low, you're depressed, you can't get out of bed. That's a totally different story that you need to talk to with your doctor. And of course, if you're, a menopausal woman, bioidentical hormones are wonderful. And those are all discussions you need to have with your doctor. And all these things have their place, their tools. Just don't build your house on tools. Build your house on a foundation and then use the tools to make your house better, and understand that you're not going to be able to take these tools forever, right? Maybe, testosterone, you're going to want to, once you get on TRT, that's another thing too. If you, once you get on TRT, it's really hard to come off. And so if you can raise your testosterone and feel better just by managing your stress, getting a little more sleep, and you're not, your levels are not super duper low, it's in your best interest to do that first, because once you get on TRT, you have to manage it. There are side effects that come with it sometimes. You have to be really smart about it. You have to be consistent with your application. So there's a lot of things that go into it. So you're much better off fixing your lifestyle first, and then you might not need to take as much. So those are just my thoughts. Go check out Vitality Brotherhood, Vitality Sisterhood. We've got communities over there where we're constantly reminding you of the basic fundamentals over and over and over again. I know a lot of people, it just, that's what you have to do. It's like when I coach a sports team, I'm having to coach them on the basic fundamentals of skipping every time we do the drill. Because if you don't do that, they're going to cut corners and they're going to get lazy. I mean, that's just human nature. So go over to Vitality Brotherhood, Vitality Sisterhood, get in there, join the group. Love to see you in there. Check out Charles Mayfield's product, Pharaoh. There's a link below. You can use Pharaoh .shop, and you can use code JIM15 to get 15% off. And we'll see you again soon. My plan is to do a live at least a couple times a week. My schedule is going to be more consistent now, so I'm not sure exactly when that will be, but we will get on here from time to time. I appreciate your support. I hope you have a great day. And I think I need to take the dogs out and let them run around a little bit, burn some of the energy off. Keep things simple, build your foundation, then add some tools in from time to time when you get stuck or you need a little extra help. But don't build your house on tools. Build it on a good foundation, and that foundation is walking outside 3 times a day, getting the lights off at night, eating enough protein, eating protein at every meal, drinking high quality water, and then having some sort of social connection. If you aren't making an effort to get those things in line, personally, I wouldn't go looking for fancy solutions. And if you do, make sure you work on those habits, because it's going to give you better, long-lasting results. And then make sure you keep it simple, just like training. Add something in for 8, 12 weeks, come off it, add something else in. Don't be on like 10 things at once, because then you don't know what the heck's going on. So those are just my opinion. Few thoughts for you. Always consult a medical professional. Have yourself a great day. Make sure you get outside today. Take care.